Section 1.1 is about nets and drawings. So this first vocabulary word is describing a net. It says two-dimensional, it's a two-dimensional diagram that you can fold to form a figure. A net shows all of the surfaces of a figure in one view. So what that means is that you have a three-dimensional shape and you're going to draw all of the shapes of the faces. So on this first one it says the net at the right folds into the cube shown beside it. Which letters would be on the top and the front of the cube? So I have taken this net, and sometimes it takes a while for your brain to process what's going on, but if we're wanting letter D to be on this right-hand side, that means that this would have to fold backwards. So I would fold my D to the right, so I'd fold back. And so in order for this to make a cube, I would have to fold F up, pull that down, and then these would have to go around so that I have a cube formed. So then the question is asking what faces would be on the top of the cube with having D on this right-hand side. E would be on the top, and then if I flip it over, F would be on the bottom. Now you're going to pause the video and try the got it question. In the got it question, you have the same net, but now it wants B in the front showing you from this picture. So I'm going to have B in the front, so that means that C would be to the right of it. So I would have to fold it backwards in order for B to be in the front. Then I would fold these guys up and down, and then fold A around so that I have a cube. So it asks which faces are on the top and the right. Well, C would be on the right side, and then E would be on the top. Okay, and example 2 is where you're going to draw a net. So a net, again, is all of the shapes of the faces. So if you have a cereal box, you're going to want to think about how many faces do I have? So I would have the top and bottom, the left and right, and the front and back. So I should have 6 shapes on my picture when I'm finished. And so I just started with the front face. So that's my 20 by 14 here, not drawn to scale. And then I put on my 2 sides, so my skinny sides here, or sorry, the top and the bottom, and then my 2 sides were these two. And then I want to remember that back side even though I don't see it, so that's why I'm going to put that other big rectangle there to match this. You're going to pause the video and try the got it question for number 2. In the got it question, this one's a little more tricky. So I started with the bottom one, so the base is the 7 by 4. And then I saw that I had a rectangular shape over here on the right-hand side. So I put that rectangular shape over here. And then I also noticed the front face was a triangle. So then I put that triangle down here so that it would fold up. These have to mimic in order to make the same thing. So on the left side, I would also have a rectangular shape. And then the back side would be the same shape as well, which is why you'd have that triangle like that.
A drawing, and it's where you're going to do an isometric drawing. An isometric drawing shows the corner view of a three-dimensional figure. So if you need to, pause the video and write down that definition. But you will be given dot paper, and you're going to have to draw in the picture. So I already have mine drawn, so let me kind of erase it here. What I do is I start with one face. So let's say I start with this square right here. Let me use a different pen. Let's say I start with this one right there. I would go ahead and draw in straight down, representing this far edge. Then I would do a slanted side to show the bottom. I would go straight back up just like it is in that picture, and then it's a little slanted back. Then to draw the cube, I would maybe come over to this side and do that edge. Notice that it's slanting more towards the back right. So I would do that same thing on my dot paper. Go straight up and then connect it to make my square. Then if you want to fill in the top, you just finish making that diamond shape to represent this piece right here. Now you've just made this first square. So then we'd want to make either the back square or the top. I'm going to go ahead and make the back, so I could just go ahead and add on another square to represent that front face. Then I'm going to add this top one. Notice this top one keeps going straight up, so I'm going to again go straight up again. That takes care of this far left edge, and this one right here is the line that I just drew straight down. So I'm just following suit with what those lines look like. If it's slanted down, I draw it slanted down. If it's going vertical, I draw it vertical, etc. So then I'm going to finish doing this back edge and then going all the way around to find that cube. So again, you just kind of want to follow suit with whatever slanting or straight up and down those angles are doing to draw in those pictures. So I want you to pause the video and try the next one, please. So your next one should look pretty much like that. Start with one face. So I started with this front face here for this one right there. And then I moved my way back. So I went back right. And then I finished that cube by putting in the vertical lines and the top. And then you can either move to the top or the right. It is your choice. If you are having troubles drawing those, let me know so that I can come help you more one-on-one. Okay, and then the last type of drawing that we're going to discuss is called an orthographic drawing, and that's having three separate views. It has a top view, a front view, and a right side view. Excuse me, sometimes I call the front view a left side just because it is pretty much the left view. So, here is the first question. Underline the correct word to complete the sentence. If you built the figure out of cubes, you would use how many cubes? Well, this is always one that people get stumped with. So if you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, people typically just count 7. But the one that they're forgetting is the one that you can't see back there. So here I have cubes, and if I were to build this to the best of my ability, here would be my figure. The block that you're missing is the one you can't see, and if I turn the camera a little bit, that is this block right here. Okay, so in the picture you cannot see it, but you need to be able to understand the depth that obviously there's 3 of those blocks counting up. So there are 8. The next question is asking us to cross out the drawing below that is not part of the orthographic drawing. So here's the part where you're going to actually be practicing. It's drawing those different views. So this first one here, so if I were going to do the front side, that's actually the left, if you will, I come down here and I try and make it flush with the table, so I'm only looking from this left side. Okay, so if I'm looking from this left side, I only see these 3 blocks in one straight rectangle, and then I see a giant square in these 4 blocks. So looking at the pictures from that, the only one that matches that is your very last one. And so I would label the very last picture as being your front. Now if I came over and I did the right side, that would be looking at it from over here. So notice when I look over here, turn it just a little bit, I only see 1, 2, and then 3 blocks straight up and down, and then I have 1 block to the left. So I would be looking for a figure that has 1 giant rectangle 3 high and then 1 on the left. And the only one that does that is the second picture that you see there. And then the very last view is when you're looking from the top. So I'm trying to make the camera angled the way I would look at it. So here is the top view. Notice again you have 3 squares put together into 1 rectangle, and then you have one small one at the side. So the only one that looks like that is this very first one. So it takes a little bit of practice, and you want to try and do it with the picture. So obviously I've had enough practice that I can do it with the picture, and so you kind of want to angle your side view from this side if you're looking at the front and